To make Starfire's costume, I've bought this really, really beautiful purple shiny lycra and silver as well. And I'm going to be using newspaper to cut the patterns out. To make the top, I thought it would be easier to show you how I've done it on a small piece of paper. So that's our piece of material. So for the front, these measurements are going to be different for everybody else. But the person I'm making this for is quite small. So I'm going in by 5 centimeters and down by 5 centimeters. And then we're just going to draw a curve like that. So that's the front of the neck. And for the back, the distance across that I'm working with is 18 centimeters for the whole when it's folded in half. So I'm working with 18 centimeters. So in total, we've got 36 centimeters for the front. And I'm going in for the arms in by 5 centimeters and down by 15 centimeters. And then we're just going to join those lines like that. So that's for the sleeve. For the back, it's the same, except I'm not going down 5. I'm only going down 3 centimeters for the neck and then joining that one like that. And doing the same for the arms at the back. And then we're just going to cut that out and sew it together. So we're just sewing it just along there and then along there. And the length of this particular piece that I'm making is 32 centimeters, which is leaving me a 1 centimeter hemline and 1 centimeter for the sew line just over there. So we're just going to sew that and this together. I'm just going to use my overlock machine to do that. To go around the bottom of the outfit of the top, I've cut a piece of the silver material at 6 centimeters, which we're going to just be folding over like that, and then sewing that all the way around the base of the shirt, just along there. So I'm going to just join it, and then using the overlock machine, connect the pieces of material so that it's like right sides together, holding it like this, so that when it's sewed, we flip it over and we've got a nice clean edge there. So just sew that on as well. So your little top should look like that. I'm not going to be doing the sleeves or the neck by putting any trim on those, because it's all going to be covered under the big piece that's going over. It's a little bit difficult to show you exactly because everybody's measurements are different. So assuming that's our leg, I like to do 4 measurements. Where your piece on your leg is going to be sitting, you want to measure across there. Then you want to measure across the knee, your calf and your ankle, so that your pattern, when it cuts out, it's going to be tapering pretty much like that. And then you're just going to sew the 2 pieces straight up the back seam like that. So I've got the leg all cut out and sewed. I've just used an overlock machine, and as you can see, it's quite a strange shape when you measure the ankles, the calves, where you've got your knee and where it's going to be sitting on the top of your leg, just here. And then I'm taking a strip of the silver material at 12 centimeters, and then we're going to just sew that on the top of the leg. So I've just sewed that piece onto the top of the leg like that. I joined it so there's no seam this side. So you make a band first and then just sew it on. So that's one of the leg pieces. And just make 2, obviously, 1 for each leg. So that's what your leg piece would look like. Once again, I'm not finishing off the bottom, but you can do a small hem. Now, because this is lycra and it's got quite a nice stretch to it, I'm cutting it on the exact measurements that I've measured. I'm not leaving any seam allowances or anything like that because it's too stretchy and you don't want your leggings to fall down. For the skirt as well, you need to measure across your waist or wherever you're having it sit, whether it be on your waist or your hips. You need to measure across there. This one is folded in half, but I'm just showing you at the moment. So you need to measure across there. You need to measure across your hips, and then you need to also just measure as to how long you actually want your skirt to be, and fold that piece over, and then cut 2 pieces out the same. And for the waistband, we're going to be putting the silver piece on that one as well. And this silver piece is also, I'm cutting a 12 centimeter piece and folding that over. And then just attaching it over there. So the skirt will have one line joining the skirt on the side there and the side over there. And then just sew your piece together. I'm using the purple to do this little skirt. So the skirt is all sewed together. It's just a little square piece. And now we're going to be taking the silver material and we're going to be making a band to go around the skirt. Also the 12 centimeter one. Sewing it together to make it like a loop and then folding it over and sewing it on just like that. And now we get to do the arms. It's a little bit difficult to show you exactly because everybody's measurements are different. The arm, we're going to be doing the same by measuring exactly where it's going to sit on your arm and then do the measurements according to the size of your arms. So that's the little arm done. Sewed it all together. And now we're going to work on the decoration for the front piece. So we've also made the armband that goes around also using the silver material by just sewing it all together. So I've sewed this one on the inside so that it's a complete circle. Unfortunately, I had to join it on the outside, but it's better to have a nice clean armband like that. To make the decorations for the skirt, I've got some little templates that I've just cut out. So that's the diameter of this particular one is 8 centimeters. So you just take your compass and set it at 4 centimeters and draw a circle. And the next one that I've got is the diameter is 10 centimeters. So just take your compass, set it at 5 and then draw a circle. So that circle will go on top like that. I've got some really thin EVA foam, which is actually a yoga mat. And all I'm going to be doing is taking my discs and placing them on there and cutting them out. I'm just using a pair of scissors to cut them out. Once you've got them cut out, we're just going to take some of the silver material and we're going to glue it all the way around the circles. I'm using clear contact adhesive to do this. So we've got the circles covered and then we're going to take that piece and glue it to the front of the skirt. I've glued it to the front of the skirt, so now the skirt is completed. So that's our wee little skirt that we've got. I'm using the same template size to do the decorative piece on the front of the collar. To make the decorative piece that goes on the front of the collar, I've got these little children's plastic beads, and all I'm doing is going to undo these and then put them into the center there and put them in the oven and just melt them. I've got a piece of greaseproof paper and that's supposed to be like a little egg maker, which I'm just using to make the little decorative pieces for the hands. I've got a small cookie cutter which is 4 centimeters in diameter, and I'm taking the beads and just going to melt them in there as well. and then painting them black. To make the neck piece, I'm going to be using my EVA foam again. Once again, this one's a little bit difficult to show you exactly what I'm doing because you need to have your measurement that goes across your shoulders. So my measurement that I'm working with is 40 centimeters across the shoulders. So you're going to be taking your compass and setting it at 20 centimeters and then just drawing a circle. And then on this particular one, I'm going up by 15 centimeters and we're going to be drawing another circle at the 15 centimeter mark, like that. Depending on how big your opening on your neck is, this one that I'm working with, the opening is 8 centimeters. So dividing that, so we've got 4 on one side and 4 on the other side. And then you need to just cut your piece like that. So we're cutting that piece out and this one out as well. So your piece is going to be not quite round here, so we're going a bit round like that, and then it's coming down and then turning like that. So we've got a little bit of a straight side going like that and then over. So we're cutting all of that off and all of that off. So we're just left with this piece here. And then we'll be putting the next piece that's going to be going over this one. So the piece is going up by 5 centimeters. Once again, just straight. So as I said, you've got to work out your own measurements as to how and the size that you're doing, because everybody's size is different. So it's just going around like that. So this is EVA foam and that's EVA foam. So we're going to be just cutting those ones out and covering them all with the silver fabric. I'm using clear contact adhesive to do that. I've painted my pieces black and now I'm just taking some of this nail kind of polish or powder that you get. It's like that, and I'm mixing the blue and the green together, so I get that really, really nice, sort of like peacock blue, emerald green look. I'm just mixing 2 of those together, and then we're going to just rub it over the piece that we've just melted in the oven. So that's the small piece for the hands, and that's the big piece for the centerpiece on the neck piece. And then I'm taking some UV gel, nail polish, and then just painting it over and putting it under the UV light. The piece that goes over the front of your hand, you need to once again measure. So what we're going for is a small little piece like that. And because I want these edges all beveled, I'm taking my EVA foam and I'm holding it and cutting. If you want the bevel to go out, you hold the scissors at a 45-degree angle like that, and then we cut so that we've got a really nice beveled edge on it, like that. And then just cut 2 little pieces out like that. I've cut my little piece out and I've just used iridescent medium and silver paint to paint this little piece. So as you can see, the beveled edges are really, really nice. And then I've taken some fishing tackle and glued it onto the front so that it can go over your finger like that, so that it holds your little piece on your hand. So those are the little arm pieces completed. I've also taken the silver paint and just gone around the edges as well. So I've done both of those ones like that. And there's the neck piece all covered and cut with the piece that goes on it. So that'll sit on the neck like that. To connect the back, I've put a zip in here. That's got the piece that sticks out, so you can thread it to close the back up like that. To make the polo nag that goes around, I've just taken a piece of the silver material and cut it 13 centimeters. As I said, you have to measure how thick your neck is. This particular one is 32 centimeters, and I've just placed some pieces of velcros on there so that we can attach it to the inside around the top of the neck here. The young lady that I'm making this for is very tall, so she didn't want to wear high shoes, so she's given me a pair of Vans, and all I've done is I've taken the iridescent medium and silver paint and painted all around the shoe, and then I've taken some of the purple material and just glued it all the way around the shoe, so it's got just a little opening at the back like that to get her foot in. So those are the little shoes as well. And to complete the costume, I've got this beautiful red long wig. And then we've got some green contact lenses. If you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.